Today's Caturday Cat Tails is going to be focused on Abracadabra. And Abra is, of course, Niffler's sister. She was born outside. She's Lucy's daughter, and maybe Rogue's daughter, too. I'm not sure. Excuse me. But she grew up outside. And, Lucy had the five kittens. If you watch the Niffler video, you'll know the story of Lucy and her kittens. But for those who didn't watch the Niffler video, Lucy's a colony cat that had five kittens. The five kittens were they are two little black kittens, Abra and Mojo, a little cow kitty, Karma, two tuxedos, Niffler and Shizuko. So Karma and Mojo, so Karma's the cow kitty, Mojo is the black kitty, they were more dominant. They had more dominant personalities. And Abra and Niffler, they were a little more sensitive and not so they weren't as bold as Karma and Mojo. And then Shizuku was just really not interested in interacting with me at all. So I would spend hours with these kittens in the parking lot trying to play with them. I would hand feed them chicken, trying to socialize them. And Abra and Niffler used to always steal the chicken. It was really cute. They used to always get into the little container and steal the chicken. So at the time that I was working with that rescue that turned out to be a complete total disaster that I ended up getting Niffler back from. But then the first two kittens that I caught and took that rescue were Karma and Mojo. And my idea was to get them to take the kittens in pairs so that they'd have a buddy, so they wouldn't be so traumatized. They would be more comfortable because they're being taken away from their home, their mom, everything they know, and being thrown in this strange environment. It was all really abrupt, and I just didn't want them to be really, unnecessarily traumatized by it. So we got Mojo and Karma first, and then the next round was going to be Niffler and Abra. So Niffler, I was able to catch. Abra ran under my car, and I couldn't get her, no matter what I tried. I tried her favorite treats. I tried chopped cooked chicken. I tried toys. I tried everything. She wouldn't come out. So Abra ended up staying with the colony while I looked for another rescue. And while she was with the colony, I would go out every day and I would work with her. I would play with her. I would take a toy out. Actually have it here. See if she'll. I used to have a horse, and this is an old dressage whip. But the cats like it because, as you can see, there's a little floppy end to it that they seem to enjoy. Let's see if I can get her to play. Yeah, see, this was the toy that she liked. This was how I worked with her when we were down in the courtyard late at night. And then I would give her treats. And her favorite treats were the little squeeze tubes, like the Nulo, delectables, whatever, churu. I used the Nulo because that's the first variety that I found, or the first brand that I found. And they worked really well. I was able to eventually pet her. I was able to handle her. Eventually she let me hold her, and everything was going really well. So, in the meantime, I'm looking for another rescue, hoping to get her somewhere where she could be adopted. So we had her out. I had her out there it was hard to find somebody. And so she basically was growing up outside. She was around 6 months old, I guess. This was October 2020. And it was starting to get really cold out. And I had So the way that our apartments are laid out, four we have basically four converted townhouses, row homes, um, and each one is so each of these sections have three apartments in, and we there were four sections, so four row homes of the nonprofit that I rent from. They the last row home that they wanted to convert into apartments, they just couldn't get the funding to do that, so they ended up selling it to Habitat for Humanity. So there's a Habitat for Humanity family that lives in the last row home, and it's been interesting having them as neighbors. um they were the guy was trapping the kittens. um we had He was trying to trap 4-week old kittens at one point. He ended up trapping two kittens from another from, I think it was Wuss Puss. It was two of her kittens, and he gave me one. He had one in the trap, and he gave me the one. And I asked him, not to trap unless I tell him to trap, because I don't always have access to the rescue. But he just continued to try to catch these kittens. And part of it was that they had the stimulus money, and they had gotten an above ground pool and a gazebo and all this other stuff, and he didn't like that the cats were coming over and pooping on the lawn. But on the other hand, they had also been feeding them at one point, so they were kind of encouraging the behavior. So the what happened is he ended up trapping two of those kittens. The one kitten he gave to me, so that one was safe. And then the second one, he just put on my doorstep. And this was in 90-degree weather. And luckily, the cat was still alive when I found it. Unfortunately, she later passed. She had FIP, and she passed from FIP. So we still don't know if what happened to her was related to the stress from what he did and how he trapped her. But it's it's not impossible that might have been part of the issue. So there were issues with this guy. And I had actually asked him at one point, I said, "Do you mind if I trap on your property?" He said, "Oh, no, please, because we don't want the kittens on here. They're causing a mess, blah, blah, blah." Okay. I mean, and I guess I should add that this is the exact same person that now has a female cat that is not spayed, that, in their words, she doesn't want to live inside. So she goes outside and she's getting pregnant, but it's okay because every time she's pregnant and she comes back pregnant, they bring her in and they let her give birth, and then I don't know, they find homes for the kittens supposedly, and then they put her back out again. So go figure. Anyway, as far as Abra is concerned, um, she one night, this was in, I think it was like October, and it was getting cold. And one night I went out to feed. It was like 9 o'clock, I guess, or so at night. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. I went out to feed, and I called her, and she didn't come, which is unusual because she's like Fury. When Fury was a baby, he would come running. Same thing with her. She would come running. And she didn't come. And I called, and I heard like this faint meow. I thought, well, what? I don't understand. Where is she? What's going on? Is that her? Is she in the area? And I mean, anyone who's ever taken care of a colony knows the panic when you can't find one of the regulars. So I'm looking around trying to find Abra. And I saw the neighbor come out with his dog. So I went over to him and I asked him, I said, are you trapping again? And he's like, no. And okay. He said, well, there's that old abandoned car there, that old junk car. He said, I've seen the cats in there. I'm like, okay, do you mind if I look? And like, no. Okay, so I went over and I looked. I didn't see anything. I said, are you sure you don't have any traps set up? I said, because I hear a cat meowing over your area there. And he said, oh no, I don't know what that is, but that's that, he said, I don't know. He said, that must be coming from another, the on the other side or something. I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at him and going, I don't think this guy's telling the truth. Right, Abby? Mm-mm. He wasn't telling the truth, was he? No, he wasn't. Hey, Masu, are you coming for story time too? Masu's coming for story time. Let's see if I can get both of you guys in there. I don't know if I can. So, Abby's going to take a nap. So, I went back in. I went back in my apartment. And this just ate at me all night. It just ate at me. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I mean, I went out a couple of times and called, and I would hear this meow, meow. And the other thing is, Shizuku and Abra used to hang together because they were the last two kittens. So they used to hang together. And he kept coming to the edge. Oh, you want to hear the story? I think Abra's sleeping. Okay, so I'll tell you the story. So he kept coming to the edge and looking back. Like, there's a little alleyway between that Habitat for Humanity house and the house on the other side of them. Kept looking in this little alleyway. And I kind of looked back. I even went up on the balcony, tried to look down to see if I could see anything, and I didn't see anything. So I went back in. Finally, around 2 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't stand it anymore. I got my flashlight and I went out, and I was determined that I was going to find her. So I went out and I called her. And I called her, and I kept hearing meow, meow, meow. And I went over to where Shizuku was. I looked back. I didn't see anything. So I knew where they had a camera. They had an outdoor camera, security camera. And I knew where it was. It was on our balcony. So I went up on the balcony and I moved that security camera to the side and up so that it wasn't pointing down where I was going to be. And I went down, and he had said I could be on his property. So I went down and went on the property. I went back into that little alleyway, looked around, and I saw it, the live trap with Abra in it. And I was absolutely livid because he had her trapped. He had her in that trap from, around, I guess, 8 o'clock was when I went out or something like that. It's now like 2 o'clock in the morning. So that's, let's see, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2. That's like about 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours. Because I think I had actually been out earlier than that. So it was a long time that he had her in that trap. And it was cold. It was getting cold. I had a jacket on when I was outside looking for her. So I went over and I got the trap with her. And I told her everything's going to be okay. That I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to protect her. And no one's ever going to hurt her again. So I took her up to my apartment. I opened up the trap and I let her out. And then I took that trap, I put it in a trash bag, and I wrapped it up really good. And then I took that trash bag with the trap in it, put it in another trash bag, and I put that bitch out on the curb, and it went with the next trash. And so if he wanted to trap any more kittens, he was going to have to go out and buy another trap. Because that trap had come from a friend. And I'm sure if that trap went missing, the friend wasn't going to be very happy because anyone who traps cats, those traps are not cheap. Those traps are relatively expensive. So I got her back and she remained with the colony and I've kept her safe as I can. And in around 22, I was thinking about moving and I was really serious about it. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do with the outdoor cats, with the colony cats? And I thought, well, maybe, like Abra here, she probably could adapt to being in. So that's what I started to do. I started to bring her in. So first I would just open the door and just let her come in the back room. Then I would feed her in the back room with the door open. Then I started to shut the door slowly, just, like crack it, that she could still get out if she wanted to get out. Oh, he wants to play. He wants to, no. Oh, he wants to play toys. Okay. So we can play toys we can play toys while we're talking too. Let me get a toy though. Let me get the toy that he likes. Okay. So so um I started bringing her in, and then eventually I shut the door, and she didn't really freak out. She just kind of went to the door, and there he goes. she she went to the door and she meowed, and I let her back out. And that's what I would do. I would bring her in, and then when she wanted to go out, I would let her out. And when she came in, I would give her a Nulo or a Churu or some one of those little squeeze up treats, and I would encourage her and I would praise her, and eventually, this is the result. I mean, now she'll come in. She's been out. She was out almost all day yesterday. So now she's going to come in and decompress a little bit. And this is what she does. I have no doubt that she could be a completely indoor cat. It would probably be a bit of an adjustment because right now she's used to being indoor outdoor, but I think she could definitely be an indoor cat. And, if I ever do leave, I'm definitely going to take her with me because we have a special bond now. Um, I call her Abracadabra, the magic cat. You never know where she is at. I even wrote a poem about her, which I don't have at my fingertips right now. Maybe I'll dig it out. I'll try to dig it out. I don't know where I even have it anymore, but it's in one of my many notebooks. Maybe if I can find it, I'll bring it out and put it as a community post or something. So this is the story of, or that is the story of Abracadabra, and how she came to live in the colony, and in my heart, because she's one of my heart cats. I have a couple heart cats. I mean, we all have those, and she's one of them. She's my Abracadabra girl, and she definitely is magic, like all cats are. So that pretty much tells the story of Abracadabra. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching or listening, because I know some of you listen to these like podcasts, which is fine with me. And I also want to thank everyone again. I want to thank everyone. I think we last checked, we're up to 104 subscribers. That was yesterday. I don't know if anything happened overnight, but I do want to thank everyone that's been supporting the channel. And remember, if you watch this video and you like it, please consider subscribing, liking, and hitting that notification bell, because I'm doing this to try to bring awareness to community cats and into colony cats. I'm also doing this to support the colony that I'm caring for, as well as my indoor cats. So I appreciate all of you. I thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.